We need to talk about why saying no makes you feel like you've committed a crime. You know that stomach drop when someone asks for something and your whole body screams no, but then your mouth says, sure, no problem? Yeah. Let's talk about that. If you've ever apologized for having plans when someone asks you to do something, I want you to drop a comment. Tell me the worst thing you've said yes to when you meant no. Mine was agreeing to let somebody come and stay in my place when we were no longer friends. I couldn't form the words no. I did later on, but that's for another day. I want you to hit subscribe if you're tired of betraying yourself to keep everyone comfortable. Today, we're rewiring the guilt that makes boundaries feel like cruelty. Welcome to Haven Hub Life. I'm Lolly, a life coach and your guide and fellow traveler for strong, high-functioning women navigating life's hardest chapters with dignity and honesty. And each week, we name the quiet struggles, we unpack the emotional weight, and explore the shifts that move you towards clarity and what you actually want. You don't need to fix yourself. You just need a way through. So I want you to picture this. Your phone buzzes. It's that friend who only calls when she needs something. Yay. Your shoulders are tense before you even read the text. She wants you to help her move this weekend. You have plans to finally rest and maybe even binge the new season of The Diplomat to actually recover from your brutal week. But here comes the guilt. She helped you that one time 3 years ago. She's going through a divorce. She doesn't have anyone else. Your rest doesn't matter at this point as much as her need. So you text back, of course, what time? While part of you is dying inside. And then you spend the next 3 days dreading it, resenting her, and hating yourself for not being a better friend who wants to help. You show up anyway, exhausted and bitter, pretending everything's fine. This is what happens when we confuse boundaries with cruelty. You think saying no means you're selfish or that you're cold, basically seeing yourself as Cersei Lannister plotting someone's downfall. But what if I told you that saying yes when you mean no is actually the unkind choice? Yes, the unkind choice. Think about it. When you say yes from obligation, you show up as a hollow version of yourself. You're physically there, but emotionally you're checked out. Like when Monica from Friends obsessively cleaned everyone's apartments, but was secretly raging inside. That's not kindness. That's performance. Type guilty in the comments if you've ever said yes, then spent the whole time wishing you were literally anywhere else. So here's what nobody taught you about boundaries. There's not walls that keep people out. They're filters that let the right things in. Like Brene Brown says, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. But we've been programmed to believe the opposite. Think about where this programming started. Little girls get praised for sharing, for being helpful, for putting others first. Remember getting gold stars for being the helper? Meanwhile, saying no got you labeled difficult, selfish, not a team player. So your nervous system learned that boundaries equal danger. Saying no equals rejection. Watch what happens in your body when someone asks for something. Before your brain even processes the request, your nervous system is already calculating the threat. If I say no, will they be mad? Will they think I'm mean? Will they stop loving me? Your body goes into fight or flight over text about helping someone paint their living room. And here's the kicker. When you say yes from guilt, you're not actually present. You're like June in Handmaid's Tale, physically there, but planning your escape. The person receiving your help, they can feel it. They know you don't want to be there. And guess what? Nobody wins in that situation. I had a client who said yes to helping her friend with her business accounts, despite having zero bandwidth. She did everything perfectly, but she was so resentful and exhausted that she barely spoke to her friend that whole time. Her friend felt it, and years later now, they're still weird about it. The thing about emotional authenticity is that when forced helpfulness is presented, it actually damages relationships more than honest boundaries. When you show up genuinely, even if it's less often, The connection is more real. When you show up from guilt, on the other hand, you're teaching people to manipulate you and training yourself that your needs don't matter, which is not true. Let's flip the script entirely. Boundaries are love in action. When you say no to things that deplete you, you're saying yes to showing up fully for what matters. You're choosing quality over quantity. Remember Rachel from Friends when she finally set boundaries with her spoiled sister Amy? At first, it felt mean. It felt impossible. But then those boundaries made space for a real relationship instead of endless resentment. That's what we are going for. Your no creates space for someone else's yes. Maybe your friend who needs help moving could connect with someone who actually enjoys that kind of thing. Or that friend who was helping with the accounts can connect with somebody else who loves doing accounts. Or maybe your coworker learns to solve their own problems instead of using you as their personal Google. Your boundaries become their growth opportunity. Remember that. Speaking of boundaries as love, on the 2nd of December, we have a workshop coming up. I'm teaching you the exact nervous system regulation techniques to stay calm when setting boundaries. You'll learn why your body freaks out when you try to say no, and how to soothe that panic response. We practice live so you leave knowing how to stay grounded. The links is going to be in the show note if you want to join us. Think about boundaries like a coffee filter. Without it, you get grounds in your cup, and the grounds will be bitter and gritty. With it, you get smooth, clear coffee. The filter isn't mean to the grounds. It's creating the conditions for something good to happen. Your boundaries work the same way. They filter out what depletes you so you can show up fully for what feeds you. Now let's get practical. The reason your boundaries fail isn't because you're weak. It's because you're fighting your nervous system without the right tools. When someone asks for something, your body needs time to process. But we've been trained to give immediate answers, usually yes, because it feels safer in the moment. So here's your new framework. It's something called the pause protocol. Someone makes a request. Instead of answering immediately, you say, let me check my calendar and get back to you. Or, I need to think about whether I can do that well. Now, you would think, isn't that stalling? No. This isn't stalling. You're actually giving your nervous system time to move through the panic response. During that pause, ask yourself 3 questions. Do I actually want to do this thing? Do I even have the capacity to do the thing? Will I resent it? If any answer is no, your answer is no. Simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Now, here's the script for saying no. You can say something like, I can't commit to that right now. And that's it. That's all you say. No elaborate excuse about why you can't. No apologizing for having boundaries. No offering alternatives unless you genuinely want to. Like Shonda Rhimes says, no is a complete sentence. The guilt will come. Your brain will scream that you've been horrible. This is extinction burst. When an old pattern fights to survive. Like when Alexis from Schitt's Creek first tried to be independent and kept reverting to her old helpless ways. The discomfort means it's working. So keep at it. But then you ask, what about reciprocity? They helped me, so I owe them. This is transactional thinking, and it's killing our relationships. Real relationships aren't built on scorekeeping. They're built on genuine care and capacity. If you help someone, was it to bank it later for a future favor? Or was it because you genuinely wanted to? If someone helped you, did they do it to own you or because they cared? You gotta weigh it up. This reciprocity trap is something we unpack deeply in the workshop. You'll map out your specific guilt triggers and get scripts for each one. The boundary scripts guide you're gonna get includes templates for family, work, and friendship scenarios. On December 2nd, we're doing this together. Reserve your spot below. Here's what healthy reciprocity looks like. You help when you can genuinely give. They help when they can genuinely give. Sometimes it's uneven. Sometimes you're the one giving more. Sometimes you're the one receiving more. Over time, it tends to balance itself out naturally without scorekeeping or guilt transactions. The people who get angry at your boundaries, well, they were benefiting from you having no boundaries. Like, for example, when Meredith Grey in Grey's Anatomy finally stopped being the dark and twisty one for everyone's entertainment. And some people couldn't handle her being healthy. Their anger is information, not instruction. So I want you to start with low stakes boundaries. The barrister who always gets your order wrong, well, you just need to tell them politely and correct them. Right? The friend who always picks that restaurant, well, you can suggest one yourself. Build your boundary muscle with smaller weights before you tackle the big stuff. Here's what I need you to understand. Every time you say yes when you mean to say no, you're lying. Yes, you are lying to them and to yourself. You're eroding the trust in your own voice. You are teaching people that your needs don't matter. You're modeling self-abandonment. Your assignment this week, say no to 3 things. Start small if you need to. No, I don't want to switch seats. No, I can't stay late. No, that doesn't work for me. No, I don't want another drink. You're going to feel the discomfort. Notice you don't die. Notice the world will not end if you say no. If this feels impossible to do alone, you're right. We're fighting years of conditioning. That's exactly why I created the Protecting Your Peace Without Feeling Guilt workshop. On Tuesday, December the 2nd at 8 p.m., we're spending about 45 minutes to an hour rewiring your guilt response. You'll do your energy audit, you learn the nervous system science behind why boundaries feel so hard, and get word-for-word scripts that actually work without sounding cold. You'll leave with your personal boundaries map and the complete toolkit, including scripts for those conversations you've been avoiding. The workshop includes everything, plus replay access if you can't make it live. The link is going to be in the show notes. We keep it intimate and interactive, so sports are limited. Remember, you can be kind and still say no. You can care deeply and still choose yourself. Boundaries are not betrayal. They are the foundation of every healthy relationship you'll ever have, starting with the one with yourself. Drop a comment and tell me, what's one thing you need to say no to this week? What yes are you done giving into? Thanks for listening today. If this stirred something in you, send it to someone who'd get it too. You never know who's holding the same thing quietly. I'm Lolly, and I'll see you next time. Until then, keep choosing yourself. Bye!